Hey, this is your girl, Trail Ravenel. I'm so excited. We just got finished our 30-day Wives in Warfare challenge. We had 237 women that signed up for the challenge, and it was absolutely amazing. We've all gone deeper in God, and we're at a different place now. And I hope that next time we do it, you'll join us. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to let you know that I'm going to be talking about emotionally wellness, how to be emotionally well in your marriage. I do know that most of the time, marriages are having a lot of friction, having a lot of issues because one or both people are not emotionally well, meaning that they're still dealing with these issues and problems emotionally and have not grown up emotionally despite age, and it's spilling over into the marriage. So I want to talk to you just a few minutes about that. So if you are on here and you need to deal with some emotional wellness or to get your emotional well-being to a place where you're no longer judging, you're no longer blaming anyone or anything, but learning to look within, and you're ready to make that step, then you need to be on this video. See you on the other side.
This is living now. This is living now.
Hey, this is your girl, Trail Ravenel. I'm back. So listen, I want to talk about emotional wellness because this is not something that is talked about a lot. I know for sure this is not something that's talked about in marriages. It's not something that's typically talked about in marriage counseling unless you were to go to a clinical psychologist or psychologist of some sort of therapist. They may bring that up. But this is something that does not get talked about a lot because we automatically assume that because we are at a certain age, that we're emotionally mature, we're mentally mature. Of course, we're physically mature because we've grown physically, but your physical maturity has nothing to do with your emotional wellness or your mental wellness. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. In order for you to get to a place emotionally and mentally well, you have to do the work. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit on today. If you have not, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. The button is right there below, so go ahead and click that button. Also, make sure that you're connected with us on Facebook and Married Couples Who Win Training Center. You can also find me there at Trail Ravenel, and Instagram Trail Ravenel, and Twitter Ravenel Trail as well. Make sure you follow me so you can keep up with updates and upcoming events and all of that great stuff. It's been a while. I haven't come to you live in a while, but so many great things have happened. And I'll tell you a little bit about that as well. For starters, my book, In It to Win It, released January 1st. Woo! In It to Win It, I released January 1st, and it is an Amazon bestseller. Amazon bestselling. I received that title, and I'm so excited about that. Just to know that so many people support it, and so many people saw the value in obtaining that book. It's a 31-day guide on how to improve communication and maximize intimacy. So if you do not have your copy, head on to over to Amazon, get your copy. You can simply put In It to Win It by Trail Ravenel, or put my name there, TrealRavenel, and you'll see the several books that I've written thus far. And you can go ahead and grab that one. It's only $4.99 for the Kindle version and $14.99 for the actual version of the book. So, in that book, I talk about emotional wellness and things of that nature because I understood how important it was in my marriage. And I'm just going to tell you just a little bit of backstory here. And I've shared several stories before, but I didn't realize, even in coming into my own marriage 6 years ago, almost 7 years now, that there was still some things that I was dealing with emotionally and I had not overcome. So I didn't realize when things were showing up and we were having friction and not getting along and all these things were happening, I didn't know that had a connection to my mental and emotional well-being as my husband as well. We had no idea. We had no idea because in our mind, just like you and a whole bunch of other people, you think because you are at numerical age that you've surpassed or you've grown up to some degree in other areas, but that's not true. You have to physically do the work. Physically do the work. So if you're in a place and you're constantly blaming, you're constantly denying that there is an issue or that the issue lies within you, that is a red flag and a great indicator that there's some things that you still need to work on emotionally. You need to be able to work through those emotions. So the first thing you need to do to work through those emotions is number one, just be aware. You have to be aware of what emotion you're feeling at the time. Now, you know, I don't want you to deny the emotion. I don't want you to suppress the emotion. I don't want you to pretend that the emotion is not there. No, that's not wise. Whatever emotion you're feeling at the time, you have to be able to identify that emotion. And then you have to be able to associate that emotion with a cause. What caused that emotion? It's not your husband, it's not your wife. They may have revealed by what they did not do, or said, or did not say, but they did not cause, they did not create, because we're in control of those emotions. And what I mean by that, you can't control the actual emotion that comes, but you can control what and how you allow that emotion to then affect you. But that emotion, more often than not, is associated to some other, it has some other connection. It's a deeper wound, if you would say, or a deeper cause, if you would say. So then you have to look back and look at your relationship growing up. You have to look at your ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend relationships, ex-wife, ex-husband. You have to look at areas of your life where a similar emotion was present, and then recall why it was present and who revealed it or who caused it or contributed to the emotion or the prolongedness of the emotion. So once you're aware of the emotion you're experiencing, and then number two, once you're able to connect with the emotion, number three, the ball is in your court. You have to then be in a position to manage that emotion, because the next thing that come out of your mouth can make or break your marriage. It can make or break the relationship as a whole. So you have to understand, or that does not come out of your mouth, because there's nonverbal communication and nonverbal emotion per se. So if you're shutting down, if you're stonewalling, if you're walking out, if you're being rude and disrespectful by throwing up your hands, or by huffing and puffing, or by not giving that person your undivided attention, and just blatantly being rude, over the course of time, that can negatively impact the relationship as well. So you want to be able to successfully, responsibly, and maturely manage those emotions, but it comes with a lot of work. So with the work that's involved is you looking at yourself, you looking at your inner self, you looking at areas of your life that are not where you desire for them to be. You looking at areas of your life where you still need the work, where you're still getting upset, where you're still getting angry, where you're still getting mad, where you're still being rebellious, where you're still trying to blame others. So you have to look at those areas and see why they're still there. You can blame your parents, but at some point you have to take responsibility. You can blame the ex, you can blame whoever, but at some point you have to take responsibility and say, you know what, I have control of my life. I have control of my future, and I will no longer allow this to affect me. I had to do that for my own life and my marriage. I can no longer allow my past scenarios, my past encounters to have any power or jurisdiction over my emotions, over how I communicate with my husband, how I interacted and encountered my husband, right? And I had to learn the triggers. I had to understand the triggers. I had to identify the triggers. So when things happen and I immediately got upset or got mad or, act out of character, I had to learn how to immediately begin to identify, why am I feeling this way? Why did I say that? Why did I say this? Why did I react that way? Matter of fact, this just happened to me not long ago. A couple of weeks ago, my husband said something. He was on the phone and he was on the phone and I was talking in the background, and he told me to please be quiet because he was on the phone with the congressional office and he was trying to conduct business. And I immediately got offended. He wasn't rude with it. He wasn't belittling me. He was not treating me like a child. None of that. But I immediately got offended, and I had to understand that the reason why I got immediately offended is because I associated that to something else, being told what to do, being silenced. And it's not that he ever did that, but I was in a relationship where I got silenced, where I was belittled, where I was controlled. So I immediately connected that to that scenario, and I said to him, "You're being rude." I told him he was being rude, when in case he was not being rude at all. So he went outside. He had to do something outside. He came back in, and at that point, when he went outside, the Holy Spirit dealt with me, and that's why I'm so thankful of my relationship with God, and I'm able to hear from Him, and I'm able to be still and discern, because when he went outside, the Holy Spirit told me that I was wrong, and he told me that I needed to apologize, and that was something that I needed to work through and I needed to deal with, because it wasn't that he was rude. It was a trigger or something that triggered in me that made me feel as if he was being rude or being disrespectful or trying to control me in some way by telling me to be quiet, when that was not the case at all. So a lot of times, you're in these situations, in your marriage, and a similar situation may have happened to you. It may not have been, "Oh, honey, be quiet," but it may have been something else, and you took it the wrong way. So if you're still watching this video, you're in the right place at the right time. So if you took it the wrong way, and the punishment does not fit the crime, you have to then ask yourself, why am I getting out of character over this statement? Why am I getting bent out of shape? Why am I allowing this to affect me in the way that it's affecting me? Because let me tell you, when you're able to do that, you guys, your marriage will change drastically. You will begin to see your marriage flourish. You will begin to see your marriage thrive. You will walk in a healthy place as it relates to your marriage, because now you're able to connect the dots. And instead of you continuing to blame your spouse and blame other people for what's going on taking place in your marriage, you begin to see, okay, the issue lies in me. The issue doesn't lie in anybody else. It lies in me. Even if other people contributed to your feelings, the issue still lies with you. Change, as I always say, starts with you. If you want to change the trajectory of your marriage, that starts with you. That starts with you looking on the inside and peeling back layers within your own life to see what areas you need to work in and what things you need to work through. I'm going to say that again. It takes you peeling back areas of your own life to see what areas you need to work in and what areas and what things you need to work through. Your life is like an onion. You're constantly peeling back layers. Although the outside may look firm, it may look ripe, it may look hardy, there's some things on the inside as you get closer to the inside that are softer, and that you will begin to see those areas that you need to work on. It starts with you. It's easy. It's easy for me to blame. Why? Because in blaming, that takes the responsibility off of the other person. It takes responsibility, off of me. So I'm no longer responsible for whatever is happening or whatever has happened in my marriage, because I'm choosing to blame the other person, right? I'm choosing to blame the other person. I'm looking at my dog, Amber, guys. See what's going on with her. Okay? So we don't want to be in that place. We want to get out of that place of blaming and learning to take responsibility for ourselves, and then learning how to work through our emotions so that we can identify certain areas that need to be changed within ourselves, and that we can begin influencing our husbands and begin influencing our wives, and them also be a creator of change. And it will be great if you and your husband or you and your wife were to look at this video together and you work through these things together, because I'm sure that there are many of you on here today, tonight, this evening, this morning, whatever time it is that you're watching this, and you're saying, you know what, Troy, you're right on point. There are some areas in my life that I know I still need to work on. I still get easily upset. I'm rude. I have an attitude problem. I blame. My husband or wife can say the smallest thing to me and I get out of kilter. It's like I just blow up for no reason. So why is that anger there? It's okay to feel angry. Even the Bible says, be angry, but sin not. It's okay for you to experience anger. It's okay for you to be angry, but we have to ask ourselves, why is the anger there? Why am I wrestling with this? Why is this a held up in my marriage? Why do, every time me and my husband talk about finances, we end on a bad note? Why every time me and my husband talk about chores or responsibilities, we end on a bad note? Why every time we talk about the ex or talk about the children or do whatever, why can't we even talk? Why are we having an issue with communication, period, in our marriage? Why is that such a big deal? Is it because I wasn't taught how to effectively communicate? Is it because I was abused in a past relationship, or I saw how my mother abused my father abused my mother. I didn't grow up and I didn't see healthy relationships around me. So whatever I saw, that's what I took on. And now I'm in this marriage and I'm seeing that I'm practicing the same exact things when I told myself I wouldn't. And even if you told yourself you would not, if you do not do the work that's required to change and to transform, even if you don't want to, some things are there that are hidden. So they may be subtle and they may be quiet and they may not present themselves right away, but eventually they will, because you have to work through those. It's not enough. It's not enough just to say you won't do it. It's not enough to say I'm not going to be like my mother. I'm not going to be like my father. I'm going to do things different. That's not enough, because you still have hidden issues. You have things that you have suppressed. You have things that you have not dealt with. You've just put it in a blockage or a compartment. You've compartmentalized something and you put it in a compartment inside your brain, and you're choosing not to think of that thing. However, your emotional response and your psyche and your subconscious will respond. So we have to be able to go and dig and deep. And for many of you, yeah, that's going to see a clinical psychologist. That's going to see a therapist. That's getting coaching. That's doing all of that because you understand that you cannot work through these things yourself. That's why I launched the In It to Win It group coaching program, because I understood that you have to work through these areas. Yeah, I've been thankful to be exposed to a lot of material, a lot of content, training, therapy training, and things of that nature, to whereas I can help you in those areas. But some of you may need other help. You may need psychiatric help. And I want to encourage you to get that. So listen, we're going to be talking about this conversation for a while, because I want to talk about how do you love well, how do you respond well, and all of those things in this series. In the month of February, this is considered the month of love. So I want to infuse that with this conversation so we can be emotionally well, we can be mentally well, and we can learn how to love well. Because honestly, you can't really love well until you're emotionally, mentally, and spiritually well. So we'll be having that conversation over the next few weeks. If you are interested in the group coaching program, it's a 4-week group coaching program. You can inbox me or email me at info@wiveswhowin.com to learn more. info@wiveswhowin.com. If you're interested in mentorship, I'm available to do that as well. And you can email me at that same email address. I would love to take you under my wing. I would love to help and support you on your transformation journey in your personal life or even in your marriage. And with the group coaching program, your spouse is welcome to join. And it's only one investment for both. So that'd be a great thing. So you guys can both go through the transformation process together. I'm already getting raving reviews from individuals that are just gone through the first module and understanding that there are things deeper that they have to deal with. There are things deeper and have surfaced just as a result of me sending them the material to work through as a couple. So when I tell you it's no joke, it's no joke, because I want people to be healed, and I want your transformation to be so evident so you can demonstrate Christ's love in the world. You can demonstrate the love of Christ through your marriage and in the world, so people will know that you belong to the Creator, because marriage is a God idea. So until next week, see you soon. Bye.
Your love